Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. I look cute today. Mm. it's you see yourself in the mirror, but it's another thing to see yourself in the camera. Anyway, hey, I'm Nika here at Leap Taken. I talk all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. We're getting a little everything else a little esoterical on this live today. If you hear, nobody's here yet. Y'all see my cute little witch's cauldron? I feel like this thing is so loud. Y'all let me know if you hear it. If you start watching this, or if you watch this on a replay, I need to know if you can hear that. Anyway, but it's adorable. It's adorable. If you are interested, watch my other channel, Magical Lifestyle of a Cottage Witch. I show my unboxing of this and everything else. So that's there. Oh, what's this? Engage. Oh, there's some tools here that I didn't know about. Oh, okay, YouTube, I see you. Anyway, hey. So today we're going to be talking about the witch's shadow, fear, ego, and power in your craft. This is part of my Spells series that I've been doing all month. So we're getting to a close in this, and we're going the full gamut with this whole thing, by the way. So, yeah, we're down to the shadow. I realized I didn't even do it on purpose, but I'm kind of following things in a way in my book here, the Witchy Activity book. These are the things that you'll find in the book, by the way. This type of content, this type of um, information, because these are important things. I'm now walking you through your power. I'm walking you through. We're not just talking about how to build a spell, what a spell is, and all that. We're talking now like, okay, so I believe you. I'm a powerful witch. Now what? Okay, so we're when you talk about fear, ego, and power, these are the three forces that can either sabotage your craft or make it unstoppable. I only talk what I know, so that's where this is coming from. And if I am talking about something I don't know, please understand I'm telling you that I'm learning and I'm sharing my journey. Okay. So this is going to be interactive, hopefully. So, you might want to get your journal. Hopefully, you have one of my books of shadows. um, or, you can just join in the chat here and share your experiences, because somebody can always learn. And I'm interested. So we can all, kind of do this work together. So let me know in the comments whether you watch this later. When you hear the phrase shadow work, what kind comes to your mind first? Now, I'm going to answer this first. A while back, I didn't really understand what shadow work was. And then when I felt, because I didn't know, so I looked it up, and then I was like, I don't like that. It felt like it was something I didn't quite understand. Um, but the way I look at it, what is the witch's shadow? So this is what we're talking about. We're not talking about like just in general, the witch's shadow. So shadow is equal to the parts of self we suppress, deny, or fear. And I'm going to repeat it. The shadow is equal to parts of self that we suppress, that we deny, or fear. And that is my air fryer. I'm going to do something. We're going to get real comfortable and have this conversation. I'm going to make this feel like a FaceTime call. First, I got to go in the kitchen and get my chicken nuggies, vegan, nuggies and fries that's in the air fryer, because I had a client and I starved myself by accident. We can't call it fasting. I'm starving. You're going to hear my stomach growling if I continue. So I'm going to get the stuff out of here. But I want to talk about this, and I'm going to write my food. All right. Or maybe I shouldn't, because what if it's not done? All right, let me check. I'll be right back. Just sit tight, sit tight. Hello. Sorry for the break. I never, well, I try not to unless the doorbell rings or something like that, but like I'm getting shakes. I'm hungry. It's a blood sugar thing right now, and I need to eat. My impossible nuggets, the vegan ones, were not done. I keep those in my freezer for like moments like this when I need to eat something. I Kids, let me just tell you, as you get older, you just don't feel like figuring out food. I don't feel like figuring it out. This is my own shadow stuff I'm working through. Like, it's definitely hormonal, but like, I do get hungry. I just don't answer the hunger cue. Not healthy, not healthy. Because I start to feel sick. Like, it's a blood sugar thing. Like, I get weird. Like, what am I doing? I'm not diabetic or anything like that, by the way. Knock on wood. I try to take care of myself, but it's a fight. It's a fight. Moving on. I left you off saying that the shadow equals parts of self that we suppress, deny, or fear. So, as witches, our shadow often holds fear of failure in spell work. I've talked a lot about that in this series because that can be the sabotage. We talked about sabotage. So, fear of failure in your spell work. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but even if you have little seeds of doubt, that's fear of failure in spell work. Fear of being seen as too much, puts myself out here on the internet. Maybe I'm not enough. I maybe I'm not reaching enough people because maybe my message isn't about witchcraft. Maybe it's not sound enough, or maybe it's not advanced enough, or maybe I'm not inclusive enough to all types of, like, I think sometimes, I'll do that. I'm just being vulnerable, telling you about how I think about it from my perspective. But if sometimes I think I have, well, not lately, because right now I'm on my, ego boost. I feel really good about myself. But up until a certain point, I did think, like, am I doing too much? Do I need to let things just happen? Is my impatience getting in the way? And I'm being too much in doing too much, right? This is just personal stuff. So then there's the ego that wants control, recognition, or validation. That is another issue. Sometimes, and I'm speaking specifically as a witch who shares things on the internet, right? And I'm open here on the internet about being a witch. That validation of, like, oh, look at my candle burning. I felt that more on TikTok than I have on YouTube. And I'm not consistently posting over there because it makes me feel weird sometimes posting. Like, people will post the candle burning, and I've done that too. That is the sign that my nuggets are done. Anyway, I'll grab those in a second. I want to finish my point. But yeah, that validation almost. And I know I'm not alone. There's a lot of us out there like this who, even if you're not posting anything on the internet or like on these apps, but like, even maybe if you have a circle that you feel, you trust people you talk to, you almost want, look, you see what this means, right? Like, you want them to validate it. Um, and then recognition, obviously, is an issue. And then there's the control. The other things are things I'm just admitting to you. I have had those thoughts. The control thing is actually a bigger issue for me more than anything. I could be a little domineering, I think. I'm a kind person. That's the default. But I do like to control. Like, I know this about me. Yeah, please know this extends into witchcraft. It is something I'm aware of, and I try to watch it, because I want that outcome to be what I want it to be. And I won't accept anything less. Like, I gotta watch myself. So what I did, okay, so here's a thing that I wanted to share. So your shadow isn't your enemy, it's the closet where your power has been hiding. We're gonna unfold that a little bit more as I continue to talk. And why I'm feeling my most powerful now after addressing the fear of failure in spell work. fear of being seen as too much or not enough, and ego that almost always wants to control. Yeah. So my question is, what's one shadow you think witches in general struggle with? Let me okay, calm down, phone. What's one shadow you think witches in general struggle with? I think it's the fear of failure in the spell work is probably the number one, based on, or even if it starts off, am I doing it right? I'm doing something wrong. Why do you think you're doing something wrong? I also don't like when people push this narrative that you're going to unlock something, self-confidence. Exactly. It doesn't help when people get on the internet and push a narrative that, like, if you say something wrong or you do something, you're going to unlock, work with spirits or a ghost or a demon or something, and they're going to take over you. Hear me out. I've been doing this for a long time. I've had my fun many times over, spiritually speaking. If it was that easy, we'd all be doing it. If it was that easy to summon a real demon to do your bidding, honey, I would have did it. I would have did it, and I would keep doing. I would have more retainer. I would have more than one demon working with me. Man, let me tell you something. And my number one thing would be, I would rotate them. Like, I would keep working with them for a while, and then I would be like, okay, it's time for a new crew. I would, just keep going, and we would just fulfill. And if it's not that easy to pull up something bad or evil or something like that. I've shared here my story about accidentally having a spirit get attached to me, but that was just my own stupidity. I mean, yes, you could also have been stupid like me and you could do something, and then you'll learn. Sometimes you got to learn by doing something stupid. I went into a situation completely vulnerable, open, no kind of wards, nothing on me, no protection whatsoever. And I was around these other witches, and she invites me to her property in its sacred land, and we go for a walk at night. Shut up. At night, and we're out in the mountains of Tennessee at night. At the time, my husband was back at the house. We were on the property. Did we leave from eyesight of the property? Yes. Was my husband in that home and ready to, do whatever? Yes. Because if I didn't come back, that whole house would have got. Anyway, moving on. I can tell you that. Like, I wasn't alone, but I was alone with these women. And we were out there, and we all had what the best way to describe is a supernatural experience. I'm shortening the story. A supernatural experience where I saw the visual representation of spirits. We all did. It was three of us. We saw it. We our senses were engaged. Vision. We saw and we could smell. We smelled what burned herbs. It smelled like sage, and I'm and it looked like a grouping. Basically, if you've ever been to Tennessee, which I think it's magical, what happens with the mist there, it's foggy, right? Um, I used to live in Tennessee, so there's magic in that, and it wasn't like you had to squint to look. No, they were figures out of the mist. It was amazing. I have not seen anything like that ever. Again, it wasn't my first time. The first time I saw something like that when I was driving from Florida to Tennessee, and just about scared me half to death. And I feel like that's how some people might, crash into something because they see that. But anyway, um, me in my silliness, like I said, left myself open and vulnerable, and that spirit attached itself to me, and it would haunt me for a bit of a period of time. It was not like years, it was handled like in a handful of months. I'm making light, but it was terrifying. And then, it brought me to work with my ancestors, and here we are now. Um, there was Why am I talking about this story? Oh yeah, about being stupid and doing something stupid and work and not protecting yourself. It's not that easy to get mounted by a spirit or something like that. There were a series of events that I did that was just wrong, and I didn't know any better. What are the chances that you're in the mountains of Tennessee having a supernatural experience and having a spirit who is murderous trying to mount you? Low. So, you're not, you have the confidence to do the magic. Now I'm going to go grab my stuff. Ponder that. I'm a silly, silly lady. Just know that. I'm a serious witch, but a silly lady. Like I said, forgive me. Oh my God, it smells so good in here. Oh, that pumpkin bread smell from this cauldron. Oh, it's a diffuser. Smells lovely. Okay. Isn't this adorable? It's a plate bowl. What do we all want? And it's a heart shape. Adorbs, right? Anyway, fear in the craft. Common fears. Again, that the spell won't work. Fear of spirits or entities. I kind of was just hinting at that. And fear of judgment. Like, we're going to touch on this one. Your family, society, and other witches. Um, Fear sabotages your magic because it creates resistance and it leaks energy. So before I talk about reframing it, I want to dig into this whole fear of judgment. There are a lot of people who I know just do not feel comfortable letting people know that they practice witchcraft, to the point that some people still go to church because they don't want their family, excuse me, friends, spouses, to know that they're a practicing witch. They don't even believe in that stuff, but they want to remain members of their community. They don't want to rock the boat. To each their own. Unless I was living in a distressing world, like, I don't know, where they burn witches, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I don't want to. Not at this big age. I can't live my life, hiding. I was told before by somebody I know years ago, it's not that I'm hiding. It's just that I know they're judgy and I don't want to go through it. And I completely respect that and I can understand that. It creates resistance, though. There's a side effect to that. My answer would be, well, can you leave? Can you get away from these people? But here's another more practical minded thing, in case that's just not possible. But I'm somebody who, I live on the other side of the country from most of my family. So reframe. Fear just equals signal. So it shows you where energy is stored. Think of it like that. You hear me? This is how I've been approaching it. It's There's energy there. I can work with it. I'm low key talking mental alchemy. I can work with that. I can find that anger. I've done some powerful work out of true anger. And also, I've had lots of experience working with fear. I've struggled with anxiety for a number of years. Fear, we've been going together real bad. I don't, not so much anymore, but most of my adult life. So I get it. So I want to do kind of a mini practice before I take another bite, um, to kind of help you with this, something I do. So let's talk about this. It's visualization. So if you're not good with that, just listen. It might click. So take a deep breath. And when I mean deep, because somebody used to say that to me, and I'd be like, no, deep, like go in, hold, out, heavy sigh out. Think of one fear in your craft. For mine, I'm a scaredy cat before. I was just the biggest scaredy cat. Think of one fear in your craft. Imagine placing it in a black candle's flame, letting it dissolve into smoke. And what remains is just power underneath. Mental alchemy. We're doing mental alchemy right here. So try that. Do these types of visualizations. They are helpful. Affirmations work as well, but visualizations, they've been very powerful for me. If you're somebody who can do. So have you ever faced fear in your witchcraft? And how did you move through it? Visualizations, immersion, just straight immersion. Do I put the fear in the flame or the smoke? In the flame. In the flame. See it in the flame and it's burning. Think alchemy and it turns in, it just dissolves into smoke. If you want to take it further and it dissolves into ash and you kind of just blow it away, you could take it a step further. If you see, like paper, you can do it like that. Obviously, you can actually do this as well if you want, but just working with the visualization. Sometimes, listen, grabbing a candle, writing a paper, all that, you might not be in the mood for all that. You kind of just need to do in that moment. That's something you can do. Now we're going to talk about ego. Ego in the craft. So ego can be useful. It gives us confidence and presence. But unchecked, ego can make us feel superior to others. We've all seen those witches. Some of us have been exposed to them. They give covens a bad name. People are very nervous about joining covens because of the abuse that has happened by people who were ego driven in the craft. Y'all know. Many of a pagan festival has been ruined by unchecked ego of the people running it, or even not the people running it, but the people participating, the vendors and stuff like that. Just like there is something coming. And if you are part of this and you're going, I mean no harm. However, there is something coming here to Phoenix, Arizona in October. And I was really interested. And I just looked at those prices and I'm trying to justify these prices. It's crazy expensive. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to spend that kind of money. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm not looking forward to spending $75 to go into a space. And there's still like add-ons. So that's just like, to go into a space. I think it was like, yeah. So I think it was 75. I might be off about the numbers. And I'm in a space basically just probably younger white women, who are going to potentially other me because ageism is very real. Ageism, and maybe or maybe not the black thing, but definitely the age thing comes up. I don't want to spend money to have that happen. That happens to me for free as I navigate here. I'm not really trying to spend money to have it happen to me. And I just think I've seen their posts advertising and people in the comments are saying, hey, so the prices are like hecka high. Like they're very high for where we are in the state of the world economically. Like, come on. If you want people, I was willing to pay up to 50. 75 is too far. Mind you, you're not even getting everything. You're not even giving, like, there's other stuff you have to pay extra for if you want to see it. Moving on. The other thing is, I think if unchecked ego can also cause obsession with results. That was me. Real. Know yourself and know what you might end up in. Exactly. Like, I don't want to go anywhere. Even if that doesn't happen, I'm taking a gamble. And if I would take that $75 and go to one of the casinos before I do that if we're going to gamble. Because there I have an opportunity to turn that 75 into at least 150. I'm just wasting it, Either way, they're both thrills. And if I'm going to pay for a thrill, at least, I don't know, I want an opportunity to make more back. I can use my lucky magic, one of my bags or oils, and test it. Obsession with results was my issue with ego. I kind of hinted when I said I was like, I wanted um, everything to go exactly as I wanted it to go, like in an obsessive way that was not at all beneficial to magic, and it working properly. Yeah, that was my issue. Like once I got good at casting spells and it worked and I understood it, like how to raise energy, direct energy, encode energy into an object, throw in Reiki, which that is more over the past few years, but that's been super helpful as well. Understanding the laws of attraction, understanding esoteric principles, and all that sort of stuff. Like having a good foundation of knowing occult knowledge, that was helpful. But also, I came a little, like I said, I didn't want a version of my results. I wanted my version. And I would keep wanting to tweak things until it was what I wanted it to be. Not good. Unchecked ego can also lead us to dismiss intuition in favor of control. I talk what I know. Shadow work with ego is a balance between confidence and humility. Not my favorite word, humility, but you know what I'm saying. I couldn't think of another word to say. By the way, these impossible chicken nuggets actually taste like chicken nuggets. I'm probably eating chicken. I better not be, but they do. They taste like chicken nuggets, for real. Like real chicken. Remember McDonald's before they decided to give us white meat chicken? And we were like, well, what were we eating before? It's kind of like that. Like the chicken nuggets you got in school. Right? I'm sorry to be smacking. I'm sorry. Ask yourself, is this spell about proving something or is it about aligning with my truth? Every spell is not worth that reflection. But when you start, if you're detecting, is this an ego thing? Ask yourself that question. Where have you seen ego show up in magic? Either your own or others. Because I'm not going to split it. I try to check myself as much as one can. But I'm a fire sign. The ego thing is real. But there's power in that. That's why the shadow thing, when we say do your shadow work, it like for real, like that's what I'm talking about. Like you can unleash that. So, sorry. Power in the craft. So many witches fear their own power, so they play small. I'm gonna give you my example. Um, you know what? I don't need to have working a money spell. I don't need a lot of money, just enough to be okay. What the F does that even mean? I'm telling the universe to limit how much money I can get. Why? Why would I do that? Who does that? But this is something I was doing. Another. Others chase power for control. Chasing power for control will lead to burnout and backlash. Definitely burnout. I know. And true power is layered. Intention, alignment, and to some extent responsibility. So that money spell, wealth spell, prosperity spell that I did, and I'm like, I just want to be okay financially. Okay, so where's my action? What's my responsibility at that point to make sure I'm just okay? You know what I mean? Like I'm shooting myself in the foot with that type of work. Power is not dominance, it's presence. Power is not dominance, it's presence. A spell works best when it comes from a place of power, not desperation. You could be desperate for the power. We've seen these people. We see them. They're on the internet. They're out here. You can tell they want power. Even not witches. You ever see like you ever really look at some content creators and you like they and I find this more with in politics, the ego thing, and they kind of want to dominate their viewers, their listeners, their fans. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's like that. And they're desperate. They'll sell their literal anything or sold their kid, their firstborn, to get more of that. Is that really power though? I mean, they think it is, but it's really just a desperation thing. So I want to talk about some practical tips for power. I mean, clear. Daily rituals. Living a magical lifestyle basically means doing something every day. So daily rituals, mirror affirmations are good, or just grounding. These are not things that you have to take a whole lot of time. A lot of us, we got to go somewhere for 8 to 9 hours a day. We have other people in our lives. We have activities. We have 2 jobs. People got things going on. I totally understand. You can do grounding in a car. You don't have to close your eyes. You can just do it with breath work while you're driving. So grounding is something you can absolutely do daily. Another practical tip would be claiming space, like physically, your altar and energetically. A lot of people have, they like being able at the end, either the start or end of the day, coming to the altar, either to sort of pull energy in the beginning of the day or sort of to release energy at the end of the day. But having a physical space, claiming that space is also super helpful. Um, for that power, and then setting boundaries, which is across the board for everything in life. So protection spells. And also there's a magic word. It's not abracadabra, it's no. Just saying no to preserve your peace, to protect yourself. Say no. Sometimes, no, I don't want to meet up with you. I don't want to go. I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to do XYZ. I don't want you to try to convince me of this. No. So, what makes you feel most powerful in your craft? So I'm asking, I'll answer the question. What makes me feel the most powerful in my craft as of late, because I feel like this is evolving, is really the connection I'm having with spirits, and that communication, that connection. Yeah, I couldn't handle this years back because it would have scared me. I told you I was a big scaredy cat and I struggle with fear of everything. Religious indoctrination, just the remnants of that. But like, because I know that the connection is real, and this has solved so many things in my life and it's made me more powerful. I used to fear death, which is like, I mean, we're gonna die anyway, but I feared it. I feared death for myself, for my people I loved. I feared death. It would freak me out. Also, having this connection to ancestors and spirits lets me know it's not over. We don't just stop to existing. We become something else. Our essence continues. So there's power in that knowledge because I work with spirits. They communicate with me. It has made me more powerful in my psychic abilities because I am, someone I'm respectful with this relationship. I don't abuse the relationship. So that's um, learning to trust my intuition, which is how it started, opening up gradually, to the spirit realm, for lack of better words, and then applying that knowledge. Essentially, knowledge is what makes me feel most powerful in my craft, because no matter how I'm at knowledge, learning and understanding and then using the knowledge is what makes me feel the most powerful in my craft. So integrating the witch's shadow. Integration is this is weaving fear, ego, and power together. So fear becomes intuition, ego becomes confidence, power becomes responsibility. Um, your fear can become intuition. You just have to be able to identify that's fear and not intuition. Fear is usually more painful, like, your stomach hurts. you know, your intuition is usually more subtle, but it's a force. So when I feel fear, it's a signal and I'm paying attention. It just makes me pay more attention. And then I allow my intuition to take over. But I don't necessarily react to the fear. It's a signal for me to be more alert. And I let my intuition come into play and say, okay, let's put our feelers out. What the frick is going on? um, so here's a shadow work ritual idea. You could write 3 fears, 3 ego triggers, 3 power sources, and look to see where they overlap. This is how I figured out the fear and the ego thing with myself and the control thing. Hi, Christopher John. This is where I figured that out for myself, and I was able to see that overlap. So I'm going to do one more little mini closing reflection because I'm pretty much wrapped up. I'm going to share a little bit more, but with this segment. So if you can, close your eyes for a moment or just, relax and just say silently, these are the affirmations. I embrace my shadow. I claim my fear. I balance my ego. I step into my power. All right, that's it. That's the word. Those are some affirmations for you. Claiming fear doesn't mean it overtakes you. It's your shadow. It's a part of you. To me, I let that be a signal. I don't let that be the control. The witch's shadow isn't here to harm you. It's here to complete you. Fear, ego, and power are not enemies per se. They're ingredients. When integrated, they make your craft unshakable. I work with that energy. I let my ego come out to play. That helps boost my confidence. I understand the responsibility aspect, so the power aspect, the motivations are solid. You know what I mean? And as far as fear, like I said, I let that be a signal, not a control. And I see that as a potential energy source, and I use it. So that's pretty much the conversation on this. And I can't believe I'm looking at the calendar. So today's the 24th. So this is my last Wednesday on the Spells on Spells on Spells series. I can't believe it, but I do want to share one other thing, as I only got a nugget down. So in the Witchy activity book, I have a section on shadow work. And I bring this up because it's a powerful ritual that you can do. I'm talking of, it's the burn book. Yeah, so here it is. It's the burn book shadow release edition, which I love. So here it says, this page isn't about drama, it's about the truth. Think of it as your sacred burn book. But instead of venting about others, you're calling out your own patterns, old stories, and stuck energy that no longer belong in your magical life. So here's the prompt. What story about yourself are you still carrying that's weighing you down? And I give you some examples because, you need that. I'm too inconsistent to manifest anything. Literally, I used to think that. And I had someone in my life trying to tell me that. I'm always overlooked. I have to do everything alone. I've heard people say that. So I give you a space to write your story here and don't hold back. So, it could just be a word or a sentence and you would write that here. And then I tell you, now let's get witchy. We turn to the next page. And then we have this page, the burn book. So here, what story about yourself are you still carrying that's weighing you down? I let you write it here because this page is meant to be burnt. You would take this page out. There's intentionally nothing on the other side. And you rip this out and you burn it. And I tell you here in the instructions about that. Here's the ritual right here in the book. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this is the stuff. Don't worry. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. Like, a lot of us need to release. I'm sorry, I'm getting a bunch of the computer's talking, the phone is over here buzzing. This is what we need to do sometimes. And even if you've been practicing for a while, this might be a thing. Manifestation pages, new moon focus. My phones are ringing all over the house. I have a business phone and a personal phone, so I hear that in the background too. I'm a woman in demand, apparently. Anyway, but yeah, this is great for that. I also have a ritual for release in here. I have a self-betrayal awareness prompt that you can work into something. I have a forgiveness magic prompt as well that you can work through. So I'm really kind of digging in. Even facing the shadows prompt. So there's a whole shadow work section toward the back that I'm really proud of. The shadow work pages is what I call them. And, like, what's something I avoid feeling and why? Use the space loaded to explore. When did this avoidance begin? How does it show up in your life? What message might this feeling carry if you truly listen? And I even give you space to draw a symbol or image that represents the shadow, because some of us, we're those types of learners. So you would draw something here. And this is the shadow work pages in the book. So you have an opportunity to really explore this type of stuff. So if this is calling to you, these books are available through me directly at leaptaken.com. Shipping is pretty quick, by the way. You're going to get it usually within about within 3 to 5 business days, most likely 3 though. You can also go through Amazon. If you have Prime, you'll get it sooner. And I also sell them on a TikTok shop if you're interested. But I really do explore shadow work. I showed you the pages. The whole book is not about shadow work, but in that section, it's there, and I think it's definitely necessary. I mean, we got other stuff in here too. We're talking about divination sigils and planetary magic and altar types and creeds and all that other sort of stuff in here. It's a fun book. You'll love it. Okay, so if you're interested in this book again, and the other books I have here, these are my books of shadow. They're available again on Amazon. Also, my website, leaptaken.com, and through the TikTok shop. So just have to do my soft plug. Y'all understand. I'm a small business at the end of the day as well. So I will be doing a shadow integration ritual. One, it'll be good for me coming into this new season and just doing some further, almost like releasing type work, but I'm sharing that with the YouTube members. So if you're interested, go ahead and hit the join button. Membership here is like really reasonably priced, by the way. I think it's like $5. So it's not crazy here. If you want to support, you can go ahead and join the membership here. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about today. And I'm going to finish in my cute little heart shape because, at the end of the day, I'm a girl who just I love love. I do. So I'm going to go ahead and get on with the rest of my day. I hope that you guys all received this message. I hope it resonates with you. Sorry for the eating and chewing and the getting up. That's not my normal speed, but here we are. I'm human, being a witch. All right, bye. Like, subscribe, share all the YouTube stuff. Thank you.